Greetings, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'll be showing you how I make a carrot cake. This video is not going to be posted because I did not like how my cake looked in the end, and my friend said to me, Abby, your YouTube is not for you to show yourself how perfect you are, but to help people. And that really spoke to me because I am a perfectionist, and if it doesn't look how I wanted it to look, I will get very upset. So after she bullied me into all of this, here we are. So first we start with grating our carrot and putting that aside, and then we're going to mix together some oil and sugar. I'm just doing this so that the sugar granules can dissolve a bit before adding anything else. And then you add your eggs. In my egg mixture is just a little vanilla because I didn't whisk the eggs together because I want to add one egg at a time. So you keep adding one egg. You want to beat that out as best as possible before you continue adding eggs. So add one egg, beat it out, make sure you all of the egg beat out within the mixture, and add the other eggs until you're done. And then after that I was like, what if people come at me and say, this is not how you do this or that's not how you do that? And then, and I was like, okay, there are different ways of doing things. You're not a baker, but you're learning, you're trying, and that's good enough. After we have finished with our wet mixture, we're going to work on our dry mixture. So now I'm just whisking together baking powder, baking soda, salt, and incorporating that before I add my mixed spice. I like adding mixed spice because it has nutmeg, cinnamon, all of those other nice baking spices all in one, as opposed to doing that separately. I like adding mixed spice because I feel as though carrot cake is a spiced cake. It should have spices. It should, So what we're going to do now is incorporate our wet and our dry. So I like to do this in batches. And you just want to go until the flour disappears. You don't want to overmix the batter because the cake will get very dense, and you don't want a dense, tough cake. So you'll see now that it's a very thick batter, but do not be afraid because the water in the carrot is going to loosen up the batter. So what I'm trying to do here is to incorporate the carrot because I don't want one pot full of carrots and then one pot on a carrot. So I try my best, and what I try to do is cut and fold. So you see me going around with the spatula and then down the center. So that's what a cut and fold is, and I am still trying not to overwork my batter because I don't want a dense cake. So yes, just take your time when you cut and you fold, and all the bakists out there, please do not cringe. I am learning. I also added some walnuts to my cake, and I am also trying to cut and fold the walnuts within the cake because I don't want the walnuts on plates. However, I dusted them with flour so that they don't sink to the bottom. So the flour is supposed to help them stay put in one place rather than sink to the bottom. In order for my cakes not to stick to the pans, I like to grease and dust them. You could use parchment paper, but I can't, but I would all cutting of this thick circle and the measurement, I can't, but so what I do is generously grease the bottom of my pans. I use a napkin to just spread that evenly, or as evenly as I can. Then I add my flour. So I take my hand and I take up about 2 sprinkles. I dust along the bottom first before I tilt the pan to the side and try to get the sides. So yeah, just knock it and then get along the sides. So yep, you just continue that and you repeat with the other pan, and this works well enough for me. My cakes don't really stick to the pans like that, so I guess it works. If you don't believe that this will work for you, you can always use parchment paper to line your pan. After that, you just want to get your batter into your pans. Try as best as possible to get even amounts of batter in the pan. If that don't work, one cake them go bigger than one, but at least you tried. So just try to get them as evenly as possible within the pan, and don't waste none of your batter. Make sure that you scrape out everybody. After you have evenly, in quotes, evenly distributed your cake batter, we are going to, knock the cake to make sure that the air bubbles are out. There are a lot of things in our cake. We have nuts, carrots, bare things in there. So, air pockets are probably formed along those. So just knock the cakes and even out the batter, allow it to get flat. Yes, yes. So I am adding a water bath to my oven to help me get a flat shape. You got Christmas cake, and the Christmas cake always flat. It's because of the water bath that they're baked with. So I do that just to help my cakes not dome up as much as they normally would. So one of my cakes still domed because of the amount of batter. It had a lot more, not a lot, just a little more batter in it. So you'll notice that one cake domes up. So allow your cakes to cool for about 15 minutes in the pan. Well, I allow my cakes to cool for about 15 minutes within the pan, and then I just get them out. So I have a butter knife here, and when I'm scraping, the flour from the dusting is coming up, but just ignore that. Continue to scrape to loosen up the sides if they're sticking, and turn your pan over. Give it a 1-2 knot, boom boom, and out comes the beautiful girl. Onto our cream cheese frosting, which is stressing itself. So because I know that my kitchen was hot, I allowed my pan to just stay in the freezer for a little bit to chill. So I'm starting off with butter, and I'm going to beat my butter until it becomes paler and fluffier. So this is going to take a while. It's going to take 3-5 minutes. Just go and beat it until it gets to that fluffy like consistency. Fluffy and pale. We don't want it to be as yellow as it is now. This cake video, we might have unrelated cake talk, and I really just want people to understand that you cannot be too hard on yourself. You cannot expect perfection all the time, because if you do, you're going to be miserable, because everything that you do will never be enough for you, and that's so unfair to yourself. Why would you put yourself through that? Back to cake talk. I am adding cream cheese to my butter because it got as fluffy as I wanted it to. And I am now going to beat that until everybody is combined and looks smooth and nice and whatever it is. So I'm just going to continue beating cream cheese until it looks like that. Yes, so while we're being kind to ourselves and not expecting perfection from ourselves all the time, that does not mean raise standards on the ground. No. It just means give yourself some grace. If you do it this time and it don't come out so you want it, don't give up and don't say, all right, this is never going to happen again. Just allow yourself a little grace. Learn from the situation, as I am learning from this cake situation, and try again. So big up Daniel for bullying me into coming out of self-pity, because that's not a good place to be. While this cake may have not been as beautiful as I would have envisioned, I do hope that you learned something, because a whole heap of steps going at this, So I hope you learned something and take something away from this video, and just learn something. Maybe you not learn nothing, maybe you just like watch the video, you like understanding, okay, if she do this wrong, me not do this, because you'll get something. So you must get something from the video, and I really hope you do learn from my mistakes. So after I am pleased with my cream cheese, butter, now cream cheese frosting, not so frosting situation, we're going to add our powdered sugar, and we're also doing that in batches because it's powder, so it's gonna make a mess. Like I previously mentioned, my kitchen is real hot. So I'm going to add my cream cheese frosting to the fridge to allow it to chill until my cakes are ready for frosting, or until the frosting stiffens or hardens up a bit. So about 10 to 15 minutes in your fridge should be enough time. Now onto the cake. So this cake is my dome cake, and what I'm trying to do is level it. So I place my hand on the top and I do not move my knife. When I set the knife at one level, that's where we're going until I have completed my cut, because if you move it, you're going to have divots within the cake. So it's about ilangoli and you don't want that. So once you've completed one going across, what's that, one line, one cut, you can then place your hand. I like to place my hand on the cake to feel if it's leveled or not. So that's what I do. That's why my hand is constantly on the cake, because I'm feeling if the cake is at a proper level. Once I've completed that, then I look at my cakes to see if it's actually leveled or not. So I'm not good at icing very well, and my piping bag burst, and it didn't burst. I actually poked two holes. I actually poked two holes in it, and not never to go right the kitchen hot again, so the thing started to melt a little bit, and it was just a whole mess. So anyways, I like to use a piping bag when I'm doing this because I can't bother. So then I use my offset spatula. Save me no jargon. I use my offset spatula and I try to smooth that out a bit before adding my other cake layer to it. No, I do realize that after the whole hullabaloo, my cake layers could have been thinner, but in the moment I was just so set on getting this over with that I did not realize that, okay, Abby, you can probably cut the cakes in two, so it would have been 4 layers. So after the whole thing is when I realized that, okay, Abby, this could have been 4-layer cake instead of a 2-layer cake, because then it would have looked prettier. But you know, I was kind of getting upset with myself at this point, so I did not care, but I still persevered. So now I'm trying to make some rosettes, and it's a go on, it not going great, but it's a go on, you know, it's a do what it do, and yeah, still a go. This brings us to the end of my carrot cake attempted video, which means do expect another video. And just always remember to be kind to yourself. You cannot expect perfection all the time, and if you do, you are going to be miserable. Thank you so much for watching my video.